From Morty being violated in the worst way imaginable to the Smith family killing each other. These are the 6 darkest episodes in the history of Rick and Morty. Night Family starts with something almost mundane. Jerry snoring like a dying appliance, rendering Beth unable to sleep. Late at night, Beth walks downstairs and gets jump scared by Rick in the living room, who's silently doing crunches in the dark like a possessed mannequin. He doesn't respond when spoken to. It's really unsettling, and it only gets worse. Turns out, Rick invented a device called the somnambulator, a machine that lets the sleeping mind control the body. His reason? So his night person can do crunches to get abs while he sleeps. Soon, the rest of the family gets in on it. Night Morty wants abs like Rick, so he does crunches. Night Beth learns trumpet. Night Summer learns Spanish. Night Jerry, well, tries. The Smiths are finally productive, just not while they're awake, but even while sleeping. At first, it seems totally normal. The Smiths were happy about the chores done by their night person, but the Night family begins to develop minds of their own. One day, Night Jerry writes to Day Jerry that, please rinse your own plates before sleeping. That's when Rick refuses to cooperate by smearing sauce on breakfast plates instead of rinsing them. Soon they start revolting. The Night family breaks all plates in the house, responding to which Rick gets indestructible plates made with the help of his friend in the Forbidden Zone. When you're starting to think the episode can't be more dark, that's when Night Beth, Night Jerry, and Night Morty torture Day Rick. Eventually, after planning and plotting, the Smiths try to fight back against their night versions, triggering a surreal and terrifying standoff between the conscious and unconscious versions of the family. It's not just a fight for freedom, it's a battle of identity. Eventually, the Night family realizes that seizing the day isn't all it's cracked up to be. They struggle with the bills, responsibilities, and the crushing weight of daily life. Turns out that living is harder than just cleaning up after someone. They make a final choice to destroy the somnambulator and vanish, giving control back to the Day family. And just like that, they're gone. No goodbyes, no closure. Now, if you think that episode was the darkest, the next one's going to completely blow your mind, where the Smiths try to kill each other over and over again. The episode kicks off instantly with the entire Smith family getting murdered by masked squid suit assassins. No warning, just boom, dead. Then they're alive again. Wait, what? Turns out that these weren't the real Smiths. They were decoys. Android clones Rick built as a backup plan. Smart, right? Except those decoys, they also made decoys of their own. And those decoys made more decoys. Now the world is crawling with duplicate Ricks, Beths, Mortys, Summers, and not a single one of them knows they're fake. Eventually, these decoys discover each other, and each believe that they're the true Smiths. They engage in violent elimination to prove authenticity. This spiral of paranoia is described in-universe as an Asimov cascade. A beacon engineered by one of the decoy Ricks gathers all remaining decoys at one location, setting off a chaotic and brutal showdown where they tear each other apart in relentless self-destructive war. The horror here isn't just the violence, it's the meaninglessness of it all. And in the final scene of the episode, we see the real Smiths who are adventuring in space. Now, let's talk about the episode where Morty was just about to get raped. The episode kicks off like any other chaos. Morty is finally fed up with Rick's reckless antics and demands to pick the next adventure. He chooses something wholesome, a fantasy quest. Rick agrees and off they go. Meanwhile, back home, Rick leaves behind a mysterious blue box for the Smiths. It summons a creature called Mr. Meeseeks, a blue, smiling being who exists solely to fulfill one's request and then dies. Sounds simple, but it isn't. Morty tries to prove he can lead a proper quest and ends up in a D&D style village. Things seem fine except the usual bickering from Rick about this adventure going badly, until Morty meets King Jellybean. This cheerful journey suddenly turns dark. The King Jellybean corners Morty in a tavern bathroom and attempts to sexually assault him. This moment is brief but horrifying. Morty escapes, shaken, and stays silent. The show never sensationalizes it, and Morty's quiet breakdown says more than any words could. Back home, the Mr. Meeseeks subplot unravels into chaos. The creatures are summoned to help with basic tasks. Summer wants to be popular, Beth wants to be a perfect woman, and Jerry wants to improve his golf swing. But Jerry's incompetence makes his Meeseeks spiral into desperation. More and more are summoned while Jerry can't make a shot. They become unstable because Meeseeks hate living. They just want to do their task and vanish, as it's meant to be. But because Jerry's so bad at golf, he tries for a whole day and still doesn't make a shot. And that's when one Meeseeks screams, "Existence is pain." They all start to blame each other that they are summoned because of them. And that's when one says, if Jerry can't make a shot, then why shouldn't we just kill him? What began as comic relief morphs into an existential crisis all over a golf game. All the Meeseeks burst into a restaurant where Jerry and Beth were having dinner and they attacked him. Somehow Jerry and Beth were able to lock themselves in a room, and that's when the Meeseeks threaten the people outside. That's when Jerry comes out and makes a hole-in-one, and finally all the Meeseeks vanish. The real horror, it's not the monsters, it's their self-identity that makes it all the more terrifying. Now moving on to the episode that is rated the darkest in the Rick and Morty history. It all starts with a classic Rick and Morty problem: love. Morty's crushing hard on Jessica, and with the school dance coming up, he wants to guarantee she'll say yes. Not confidence, not charm, a sure thing. So, of course, he turns to Rick. And Rick, he does what Rick does, and cooks up a love potion using Vole DNA, because Vole is made for life. At first, it worked. Morty touches Jessica's arm, and she melts. Obsessed, it's everything he wanted. Then she sneezes. Turns out Jessica has the flu, and now the love potion becomes airborne. By the next morning, the entire school is in love with Morty. Teachers, students, even the janitor. It spreads faster than a meme. Morty is now the most wanted man on Earth, and not in a good way. The affection turns violent. People are rioting, fighting, clawing over each other just to touch him. It's love turned apocalyptic. Rick tries to fix it. His plan? Add mantis DNA. Female praying mantises eat their mates, so maybe that'll cancel the love, right? Wrong. The antidote mutates everyone into giant mantis people who still want to devour Morty after mating. Another fix that Rick tries after this is to mix the DNA of the creatures in the ancestry of humans to turn everyone back to normal. What does this do? It worsens things even more. Everyone turns into an even more grotesque creature known as Cronenbergs. At this point, Earth is gone. Rick finally admits there's no fixing this. So he opens a portal to another dimension, one where he and Morty just died in a lab accident. They step in and assume their places. Problem solved. For everyone but Morty. Because now he has to bury his own corpse in the backyard. He digs the grave and drags his doppelganger's lifeless body into it, clearly disturbed. Morty starts living and sits with a family that isn't his, in a world that he isn't native of. His eyes are empty, and Mazzy Star's Look On Down from the Bridge plays softly in the background. Now moving on to the episode that is not only dark, but it's so sad that it's gonna make you want to cry. It all starts off surprisingly wholesome. Rick gets invited to his best friend's wedding, but he refuses it. Why? It's because he hates weddings. He literally calls them funerals with cake. But one way or the other, he ends up showing up at the wedding because Jerry was kidnapped by this thing and was dropped at the wedding site. The Smith family travels to Bird Person's home planet. It's all intergalactic traditions, awkward toasts, and Rick's actually trying to be social. Summer's best friend Tammy and Rick's best friend Bird Person get married and kiss. Everything was incredibly wholesome until Tammy grabs the mic. She gives a heartfelt speech and then casually reveals she's a Galactic Federation agent. She pulls a gun mid-toast and kills Bird Person. If that's not enough, guests are slaughtered as well. The entire wedding was a setup just to arrest Rick. The family barely escapes, thanks to Squanchy, who hulks out and buys them time. They jump through dimension after dimension, but the Federation is everywhere. There's no hiding. They settle on a tiny Earth to survive, but they can clearly see that they're bored and just want to go back to the way they were living. That's when Jerry says, why don't we turn Rick in? Then we can go back to the way we used to live. But Rick hears Jerry and makes a call no one expects. He gives up and turns himself in. He walks across a barren alien landscape, tired and silent. Then he surrenders. No fight, no portal gun, just Rick handing himself over. As he's dragged to prison, Morty, Beth, and Summer staring in stunned silence. Rick alone in a concrete cell. No jokes, no twist ending. Just a man who gave up everything for the people he pretends to not care about. And now moving on to the darkest episode of Rick and Morty. This episode starts off deceptively chill. Rick, Morty, and Summer land on a strange new planet, and suddenly a group of people approaches the Smiths and asks to help them because their planet is ruled by an unknown entity who controls the bodies of every single human on that planet. They've all been assimilated by Unity. Who is Unity? Rick's ex. But not just any ex. She's a full-blown hive mind controlling every living thing on the planet. And Rick, he's into it. The second he finds out, he's like, damn girl, you've been working out? And he means it to the entire population. Yeah. And just like that, the chaos begins. Rick and Unity fall right back into their old rhythm. stadiums full of people chanting his name, all-night raves with Unity switching genders mid-sentence, entire towns partying themselves into destruction, all to impress Rick. But it's not love, it's an addiction. Meanwhile, Morty and Summer start noticing the cracks. Citizens start glitching out of Unity's control. Riots break out. One war starts because of nipple shape differences. Yes, really. Unity tries to hold it together, but Rick's ego is toxic. The more he stays, the worse she gets. Summer and Morty point it out, but Rick ignores them and tells them just to buzz off and go back home. Eventually, Unity disappears after Summer's speech and leaves him in a breakup letter. I realize now that I'm not healthy enough to be with you. And just like that, she's gone. Rick, of course, laughs it off, acts like he's cool, but when he gets home, everything changes. He walks into the garage, takes out a tiny alien creature, pets it, whispers to it, then euthanizes it with a laser, and then he sets up a suicide machine. No jokes, no dialogue, just Rick, completely alone. The laser charges, he closes his eyes, doesn't even flinch, but before it fires, he passes out. Those were the darkest episodes of Rick and Morty. Which one messed up you the most? Let me know below in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Or don't. Free will's an illusion anyway.